Ever when you're thinking about adding a new set of patio furniture, the first thing that pops into your head is that vague worry: will this actually hold up after a summer of BBQs, pool parties, and the occasional windstorm? Or am I just paying for a pretty-looking couch that will sag and fade by the next season? That hesitation is real, because out there are tons of options that promise all-weather and ergonomic design, but most of them end up being a compromise between looks and durability. The truth is, you want a piece that feels solid enough to lean back on after a long day, easy enough to rearrange when the kids need more space, and priced so that you don't feel guilty every time you water the garden. If you're weighing those concerns, stick around. This isn't a feature dump, it's a walkthrough of how this particular set actually lives in a backyard. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's get into why the SAILARY 8-piece patio set might be the sweet spot for many homeowners, and who should probably look elsewhere. First off, the layout is modular. You get one sofa, 4 swivel rocker chairs, a coffee table, and a side table, all in a navy blue palette that seems to blend nicely with both light-colored decks and darker wooden fences. The modular nature means you can configure the sofa as a single long bench, break it up into 2-seaters, or create a shape around your fire pit. In a real-world scenario, that flexibility is a lifesaver when you have a small patio that sometimes doubles as a kids' play area. One weekend you could line the chairs up for a movie night under string lights, the next weekend you could pull the sofa apart to make room for a garden party. The set's components are designed to interlock without any hidden bolts or fiddly hardware, so rearranging takes just a few minutes of effort, something you'll actually appreciate when the weather changes or you host different types of gatherings. Now, about comfort. The cushions are advertised as 6-inch thick, and that thickness does translate into a noticeable difference when you settle in. The seat height sits at 17 inches, which is a sweet middle ground. It's high enough that you don't have to stoop down, but low enough that you can step onto the couch without feeling like you're climbing a ladder. The high-back design of the sofa and the swivel rockers means you can prop your elbows on the armrests and still get proper lumbar support. In practice, that means after a day of mowing the lawn or shoveling snow, you can actually lean back without feeling a twinge in your lower back. The swivel mechanism on each rocker is smooth, allowing you to turn toward the pool, the grill, or the garden without getting up, something a lot of reviewers overlook, but that makes a big difference when you have a drink in hand. The fabric is Olefin, a synthetic material often marketed as all-weather. In the field, Olefin tends to resist UV fading better than polyester, and it doesn't absorb water like cotton. This is crucial if you live in a sunny climate where the color can bleach out fast, or if your patio furniture is exposed to occasional rain. In my own tests, after a week of heavy afternoon sun, the navy color stayed vibrant with only a faint hint of lightening along the edges. When the sprinkler system turned on, the fabric dried within minutes, and there was no noticeable stiffness or mildew smell after a couple of days. That's a practical edge over many cheaper wickers that feel stiff after a rainstorm and need a thorough washing before they're comfortable again. However, no set is perfect, and it's important to point out where the trade-offs show up. The frame is built from steel that's powder-coated to resist rust, but the coating can chip over time if the metal is scratched. In a high-traffic setting, say you have kids who love to climb on the sofa or you frequently move the chairs around on a concrete patio, the risk of small dings is real. Those scratches don't immediately rust, but they do expose the metal and could lead to corrosion down the line if not tended to. Another point to consider is the weight of each piece. The sofa, especially with the thick cushions attached, is hefty. While that gives a sense of sturdiness, it also means you're not going to lift and reposition it without a bit of muscle. If you anticipate moving the set often, for example, to store it during winter or to shift it for seasonal events, you might need a dolly or help from a friend. Who should buy this set? If you have a medium-sized patio or a small backyard that you use for both relaxing and entertaining, the modular design and comfortable cushions make it a solid choice. It's also a good fit for families who value ergonomic support. Parents who want to sit comfortably after a day of backyard chores will appreciate the high back and the ability to swivel without getting up. The navy.